Welcome to the channel, everyone. In this video, I'm going to do a little test and see if Bondo sticks better on a painted surface or bare metal. And I've got a couple videos out there. One of them is reasons why you should leave the factory finish. And I've got another video where I take some test panels like this here, put Bondo on it, see how much it flexes. So what I'm going to do in this video, I've got a couple test panels. I got one painted, one bare metal, and I've got another panel here that this is sanded off the bare metal, and then this part here is just sanded with 80 grit. So I'm going to put my Bondo across this panel here and see which holds up better. I'm going to put Bondo on both of these and then bend them and see which one sticks better. Years ago, everyone was taught you have to grind the metal down completely clean, take all the paint off of, E-coat everything, get your Bondo to stick. And that's the way I did it for years. Most of the manufacturers now, they don't recommend taking any of their coatings off the metal. The only reason I do, if it's gouged, scratched, but I do it to a minimum. Everything else I like to leave on there and then just finish it down in 80 grit. The main reason the manufacturers don't want you to put your filler on bare metal is because there's no corrosion protection in the Bondo. Now, I haven't seen it in years. I used it, probably 30 years ago. There was a Bondo out there and it had a zinc in it, and that was supposed to protect the metal so you didn't need any etch prime or epoxy underneath it. It always left a real gummy top surface to it, so you'd have to sand that off and clog your paper up. You change paper, then it was okay, but it seemed like you wasted it trying to scrape that slime off the top. So anyway, yeah, with the manufacturers, they want something on there for corrosion protection before your filler goes on. They believe that there's nothing in the aftermarket can duplicate what they do. Another thing what the manufacturers want you to do, they want some epoxy on there or an etch prime. The only reason I don't do that is because I don't know how long it takes for this stuff to dry once you put it on there. Your filler will tell you it has to be a dry surface or a fully cured surface, but it depends how thick the primer is put on. It depends on temperature, humidity. Even if it's baked and you do it the next day, there's really no way to tell if that is thoroughly cured. But on the other hand, I've seen guys do their body work, it gets primed, they block it, and they've still got an issue, and they'll just put Bondo right over the primer. It could be the same day, it could be the next day, and I've never seen it come back and fall off. So I don't really know if there's an issue there. You know, is it dry enough in a day or two? So that's why I've just kind of stayed away from putting anything on there, letting it flash off and putting my Bondo on. So I'm going to mix up some Bondo. I'm going to do one batch so it's all mixed the same consistency with same amount of hardener, and do all these panels at the same time. And I'm going to let it cure probably just a couple hours, and I'll come back and I'll probably take a gasket scraper or something to see how this adheres to a painted surface versus metal. And then these here, I'll put them in that little tool I made and bend them and see how they work. So let's get started. This sheet metal here is, I think, leftover scrap from a van side I replaced. So this is the factory finish it's on here. It's never been repainted. And this test strip here has been sanded just with 80 grit, same as over here. Sheet metal, where the metal is showing, same thing, it's all 80 grit. I don't believe in using a grinder on the bare metal, because there's galvanized on here and you don't want to take that off. Even 80 grit will take some of it off. So I don't use a grinder anymore unless I'm cleaning up a weld or something like that, or trying to get a little rust out. But 80 grit is the coarsest I use. And I've got this notched spreader here, put the same amount on each one. Okay, I'm gonna let that sit probably 2 hours, and then I'll come back and we'll test it. Okay, it's been about 2 hours and 15 minutes. Everything is dried up. These I'm gonna take and put in that thing I made. We can bend them and see how it adheres to here. But first, I'll take a gasket scraper and I'll start scraping on this, see if there's any difference. Okay, once I get the scraper started, it'll pop off, but it takes quite a bit of force. Let's try it on the sheet metal, or the bare metal. We put some clamps on here to hold it. Okay, so they both stick pretty good, but it seems like even on the bare metal, it leaves a little bit more residue than it does here. So it's possible it does stick a little bit better on the bare metal. Yeah, it does bite in there a little bit better. As you can see all these places where here it come off a little cleaner. Not a big difference, but, well, there is residue on here. It's a little harder to see with the white paint. It's about the same. I'd say maybe it sticks a little better on the bare metal. I don't know if it's enough of a difference that somebody's going to change the way they use it. As long as you've been having good results with it, shouldn't really be an issue. But, yeah, it does look like the bare metal side sticks a little bit better. Yeah, it leaves, yeah, like I said, just a little bit more of a residue on here than it does on the painted surface. So let's take these two panels and see what happens when we bend them. Okay, we'll start with the panel that has some paint on it. Right there is where it cracked. And it delaminates fairly even all the way across the bend. It does break loose a little bit ahead of where it's actually being bent. About the same as the test panels I did in another video a few months back. And it come off pretty clean. Let's see what the bare metal one does. Okay, it cracked about the same place. Yeah, not much difference, but it does leave a little bit of a film on here, so it seems to stick pretty good to the bare metal. It may stick a little bit better than on the painted surface. I don't see any residue in here. A little bit in here. But they cracked about the same place. They delaminated the same way. Not much difference there, but a little bit in the residue that leaves on the surface. Okay, so there is a little bit of difference in the two, both consistent with the flat panel here from metal to painted surface, along with the two test panels that I bent. So I don't think it's enough difference that it would really affect the way I would use it. One of the benefits you get with leaving the paint on is the corrosion protection that's underneath the Bondo, and you also don't have to feather out all your painted edges once you got your Bondo done. So, and then like the metal surface, if you're concerned more with the adhesion on there, that's probably the way to go. If you've been having good results, either way, whichever way you do it, stick with it. I don't think this test, there's enough difference in the two to make somebody say, I'm not doing it that way anymore, I'm going to do it this way. They're fairly close, and like I said, for years, we always used to grind everything down to bare metal. I haven't done that in probably 30 years, and I've never had anything come back where Bondo was delaminating from the painted surface, as long as it's prepared right, sanded, and kept clean. So another concern of mine that I just thought of, if I had Bondo in my truck and I'm driving down the road, I just hope I don't run into a big gasket scraper. Other than that, it shouldn't be an issue. Anyway, I just wanted to see if there's any difference. That way, in my mind, I kind of know a little bit more now. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.